Hey everybody, Rich here, Rich's Custom Marine and Auto. In this one we're going to be working on this 1996 Toyota 4Runner. Customer concern with this one was they took it in for an oil change and they told them that it had a bad CD axle boot. So let's have a look at that. For my viewer that's worried that I'm not using jack stands, there's my jack stands. And then right there you can see that boot's pretty torn up. So I've got an axle shaft out in the car that I just went and got in town. The other things was there's an oil leak on the engine, which we'll work on trying to diagnose a little bit. Looking at the brake pads, brake pads had gotten pretty thin, so I've got a set of brake pads for it. So that's what we'll be working on this beast. Alright, first thing you want to do is get your center cap off. Just use a flathead screwdriver and a hammer. You want to go around that thing a little bit because it will dent in. It's been removed before because it was dented pretty good right there before I even started. At this point we need to pull the shock absorber off. So we'll unbolt it. That's a 3/4 or 19 millimeter on both sides. So we'll get that thing out of the way, and then we'll come back over here and we'll pull this cotter pin out, get this lock off of here, and then figure out what size that nut is so we can get that broke loose. Okay, and I've got the jack underneath there just to support that. I'm not sure, we'll have to see if we've got to take the sway bar loose or not. I didn't see in the procedure and all data where it said to do that, so I'm not going to do that yet at this point. Alright, so that's a 1 3/8 socket. And I'm sorry, I don't know what that crosses over to millimeter. I can tell you my 36 millimeter socket was too big, so 34 or 35 I would guess. That thing wasn't very tight. Now we should be able to, yep, that thing will push in. Okay, good. So for the next few steps, we're going to be removing the ball joint nuts right there. There's 4 of them. We'll take those out. We need to pop that keeper out on that brake line so the brake line can free float. And if you have anti-lock brakes, you'll want to disconnect. The harness should go along with that. We also will be removing this brake caliper, which we'll be doing brakes anyways, like we talked about before. And then that should give us enough room to allow this to pivot out so we can get that axle removed. Okay, so we were able to get that bracket off. That's a 12 millimeter headed bolt that comes in from the front. Of course, we've got the caliper there with the pads out of it. Got the disc off of there, and so now we're ready. I've got my socket down there, and I'm going to go ahead and unbolt these 4 bolts that hold the lower ball joint. I'm going to try not to take this tie rod loose and see if that gives me enough room, because all we got to do is get the end of this axle to disengage back inside of there. So So I'm gonna try it. I got nothing to lose. If I have to pull that cotter pin and take that nut off, I got more cotter pins. That's no big deal. So we'll see how that works out for us. Got that ball joint unbolted. Let's see if we've got enough room to get this axle out of here. Look at that. So, no need to take the tie rod loose. Perfect. And at this point, I can move the jack out of the way, and then it's held in place on the inboard side with a snap ring. So we'll have to figure out what we can pry against. So let me get underneath there and have a look at what we need to do. And when I'm talking about snap ring, so this is what I'm talking about. This little guy here. So we've just got to pry underneath there, and I'll show you. We'll pry against the housing this goes into, and then against there. I won't be able to show that on camera because I'll have to have both hands, but just to show you what we're looking at, we're looking at that right there. So we'll need to get something in between those two, and then we'll be able to pop that thing out of there. Got the old axle out. Trick I wanted to show you is put a little bit of grease on the shaft, and you can get that snap ring to hold perfectly centered, and that makes it a heck of a lot easier when you go to pop that thing back in there. Now to get this out, I just used a pry bar in between here and the housing that it goes into, and then you kind of want to just do a quick just bang to it, and then that thing, I had to do it a few times, and then the last time it just popped right out. You can try turning it too, because these snap rings will fall down because of gravity, and so try turning the axle half a turn, say, and then pop it again with a pry bar. So at this point we've got this one prepped and ready to go in there, so we'll slide that thing in there and get to putting things back together. Starting to go back together here. You want to make sure you wire brush the surface, the back side and the front side where the wheel goes. That way that thing sits nice and flush. You can see we still got to torque that, but I want to get the brakes done first. I've pushed the pistons back inside the caliper, and now these are the bolts for the lower ball joint, and I've cleaned them all up. I've got my blue Loctite ready to go, so I'm going to install those next, and we'll torque those to 59 foot-pounds. Okay, so that's bolted down. Now we're ready to go ahead and we can put our shock back in. You shock back in the mount and then adjust the jack up and down until the hole's aligned. I did go and clean the threads off so we can put some blue Loctite on there once it's through. Bolts in place. You might have to twist that shock just a little bit, and that's why I had to shut the camera off, is because I needed to be able to twist that. And then I just took my long punch here and came in and my rubber mallet and just lightly tapped on it, and it went right in. We're going to torque this to 101 foot-pounds. Next, we'll go ahead and remount the brake caliper, and after that we can put that little bracket on once we clean up this bolt that holds the line and the ABS in place. Bolts are cleaned up. Now we're ready to put the caliper back on, and we're going to torque these bolts to 90 foot-pounds. Be careful when you're torquing that top bolt, because you can see how close that brake line sits there. Just make sure when you're pulling up on that thing, if you slip off of there, you can tweak that line pretty good, so just be real careful of that. Now, like I said, we can go ahead and put this little bracket back on that holds the brake line and the ABS harness. Now we can put the little clip back in. And at this point, we're ready to go ahead and put our new brake pads in. I'm gonna clean the pins up a little bit first that go through there, because they're a little rusty, and then we'll put that together. We've torqued this nut to 174 foot-pounds, and then this kit from O'Reilly, I'll show you the part number here in just a second, but it actually came with the cotter pin. I'm a retired helicopter mechanic, so that's how I do cotter pins. It doesn't matter, you can have the ears go to the side, both of them one direction, but that's just the way that I've done it for 25 years, so I'm going to keep doing it that way. But yeah, just you can rotate this around until the slot lines up as close as possible, and then tap your cotter pin through. We've got the new brake pads in there with the new shims and all that. That's really easy and straightforward, so probably one of the easier ones I've done. I will show you what I did to push the pistons back if you don't have the correct tool. They make a tool that's looks like it's got two brake pads on it, and it's threaded, and you can pull the pad out of there and set that thing in there, and then it's just like a ratchet wrench. Basically, you move it and it'll spread the piston apart, then click the clicker the other way and you can get it back out of there. Well, mine has broken. It's had a lot of use. What I did is I cut these pieces of paneling, they're probably not quite 1/4 inch, and then put it in there just like so, and then that allowed me to get my pry bar in there, and then I just carefully worked it, and I could watch the piston get pushed back, and then do the top one, this one, put my new pad in there, and then did the same thing for that one and that one. So anyways, that's a way you can do it. At this point, we're ready to go ahead and put the wheels on, so you'll want to do that and torque your lug nuts to 83 foot-pounds. And of course, after, go drive it, do the bedding process of the brake pads. 3 stops don't come to a complete stop. Come down to where you're rolling like 2-3 miles an hour, and then get right back up to say 55-60 miles an hour, and do that again, and then drive it for a little ways, let them cool off some, turn around, and then do 2 more of those on the way back. I call it 3 out, 2 back. And then so when you get back, double check your 83 foot-pound torque on your lug nuts, because usually they'll take just a little bit more. They've loosened up with everything getting warm. The last thing we need to do here is we lost a fair amount of gear oil out of the front differential, so we need to go underneath and top that off. That uses 75 W90, so let's get set up for that. I want to share one more thing about the brakes, guys. On these guys here, you want these pointed down on both sides. I looked online, I looked in all data, I couldn't find anywhere where it specified. After watching a couple videos and looking back to how this one came apart, This part that comes out is always on the bottom. So just wanted to make sure I shared that with you guys. Let's take a look at where the fill and the drain is on the differential. Okay, so you got your forward cross member here. This is your engine oil drain, and then right up there in the middle, that's the fill plug for the differential. In this case, we're not actually replacing the oil, we're just going to top it up because we lost some. That is a 10 millimeter Allen. And then it's really dirty on this rig, but that is the drain plug right there, and it's a 12 millimeter Allen. Get you one of these gear oil pumps. They're pretty cheap. You can get them, all the auto parts stores have them. You can get them at hardware stores and stuff like that. You want to just top that differential off until the oil starts running out. And you can probably see the little spot there where ours overflowed a little bit. Make sure you put your crush washer back on there and snug that thing back in there, and you'll be all done. Just got done bedding in the new brake pads, and the brakes are working great. So like I said before, all I got to do now is retorque the lug nuts on this thing and double check the fluids one more time, and everything will be great. So hey guys, thanks for watching. Thanks for following along. Please subscribe, it helps us out. We're trying to grow still. Like the video if you would too. Feel free to leave any comments or suggestions or thoughts, whatever you got. We appreciate them, we read them all, and we'll catch you in the next one.